pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
To approve regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Support.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Review and approve bills, accounts payable dated June 25th, regular $479,386.46. EFTs are zero, so it's still the same.
Move to approve.
Support.
Well, I'll take a look at it. All set? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. There's probably one in Gary somewhere.
She has Gary,
Oh,
he
okay,
has Mike's,
good.
I was on top of it today.
Well, you got it under control.
Mhm.
There's two of them. I think one of them has been way through. I think one has come back to us probably.
I think that one's done.
I think that one needs to be done.
Right. Payroll dated June 18th, $156,122.40.
I move we pay the payroll dated for June 18th.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Yep. Is my not coming? Or we don't?
No.
Okay.
I called twice yesterday
Okay,
and called
good.
this morning.
Okay. Okay.
Treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $3,325,462.76. Total receipts were $84,089.22. Total on bills and payroll is $635,508.86. CD reserve for 2 trucks is $707,831.28. Ending available fund balance is $2,066,211.84, and outstanding accounts payable is $10,674.28.
Any questions? If not, stand as presented. Thank you. We got 10 minutes. We could skip down to public comment.
Just where I can.
Sure.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dave Cleveland from DMCI Broadband. Some of you know, worked with Heather here recently on some of our right-of-way permit applications. DMCI has been awarded a very large build of fiber optics throughout Hillsdale County, approximately 470 miles of fiber in Hillsdale County alone, out of our 654 miles total that we're going to be building out here. So obviously we're making a very large investment, into the county here. I'm having some concerns. I have big concerns with the changes that were made in the pricing, your fee schedules that were published in January. In 2025, we submitted our very first application to the BEAT program in June 5 rounds later, September, it's final, and pricing was all set. We budgeted in everything based on your current price sheets and everything else. Now, June or January 26th, we have a new price sheet comes out, we've got all these additional fees here. You know, DMCI has, we had $355,000 budgeted just for the Hillsdale County Road Commission for right-of-way permit applications to cover that 470 miles, our laterals, you know, handholds, things like that. Now we've got these additional fees that are coming in of a project. What is a project? I still don't know a definition of what a project is. According to the rate chart, it says under 250,000 population. Well, that's the county, easily, there. So, but I'm getting hit with $330 fees on each of my applications that I put in. In addition to that, we've got a new fee in here that is a temporary road lane closure for $110 for each one of my applications. Between those two fees alone, every street that I put in, I'm getting whacked for $440 of additional cost, in addition to the right-of-way, the laterals, the handholds, and everything else. And I'm approaching $2,000 in some of my applications because of the density of houses. I'm approaching $2,000 a mile in right-of-way permit applications in here. You know, we're working the full details out here and to get you an exact number, but I'm anticipating right now that we're looking at an additional $120,000 in fees that have been added since we worked from the rate chart of 2025, and you know, we were active in 2025, you know, boring and everything else, so we were doing permitting and things along the way. So I'm not here to end run Bob. I know Bob is not here. I love working with Bob. I made that clear to Heather a week or two ago when we spoke. You know, and that I just want to get this up on your guys' radar. When Bob gets back, I want to sit down with Bob and see what we can work out on this whole fee schedule. But $120,000 on 355 budgeted is a hell of an increase in, you know, in our fees, and obviously we don't have that budgeted into, you know, the whole program, and it's not, you just don't go and ask for more money. It's set, it's
Right.
done, you know, it's in concrete there. I can leave you some information here if you like. It shows our map and where we're building out at and things like that. Handles down and copy for Bob and things like that. You know, we're doing a very large portion of the county, you know, and especially the whole eastern side of the county here, from the state line all the way up to the county line, north of Litchfield.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get on your radar, and you'll see your new chart or fee schedule on the back here, and you know, 3 items that are highlighted. The new structure charge, that's something that you did start doing that. I seen it in October of last year. So that, even though it was beyond what we had bid, we knew something was coming from discussions, and I'm okay with that. I got that covered in our structure. It's these other 2, you know, the broadband new per project and temporary lane closure. Yeah, I can't get my trucks off the road. You know, I'm sorry. It's just not. You don't have shoulders there. You know, in some cases, no shoulders at all. But,
exactly.
You know, so you know, I'm looking for some assistance out of Bob and out of you guys to help us, you know, not blow our budget up.
We'll discuss it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, Tim.
Yes. I'm gonna echo the end of what he said, that Bob's not here, but, as most of you probably know, we're trying to get Lake Somerset, the roads and everything dealt with. And Heather's got me numbers, and I appreciate that. But the problem I have is, I believe it's under your policy, which I'm assuming that this, commission put together, is that these roads, even though you're responsible for them, you don't pay anything on them. And what I'm understanding is because either you can't, won't, or don't do that type of work. So we're gonna have to go out and hire a private contractor under your direction, and we have to pay 100% of the bill. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, at least I'm thinking that the county commission should be able to at least pick up the labor costs on these and, you know, offset what it's gonna cost us in the association. Because if you guys were gonna do the work and we said, no, we'd rather have this guy do it, just give us your specs, we'll take care of it, that I understand. No, I'm not gonna pay anything for it. But when you're telling us we gotta go hire a private contractor because you can or won't do the work, and then you say you're not gonna pay for any of it, that doesn't make sense to me. And I need it to make sense. So I explained it to my board and the Lake Association, and, you know, the county, obviously, we all know is responsible for the roads. And we're willing to do our share, and I'm asking that you guys do your share.
We'll discuss that with Bob, because, have you had a discussion with Bob?
Well, yeah, that's, you know, he said the policy is, and I've got a copy of it right here, because Heather told me it's on the website. And the first of it is, and like I said, we've gotta put these roads back the way they were, better than obviously than what they were. And we've gotta get them repaved. And, one was 411,000, the one I just received, and that's paver patched and, chip seal. And to cover what we've done, you know, we're basing on the numbers that we were given. To cover what we've done, we're looking at, I think it was $1.2 million. And that's with the labor. It was $900,000 for material. So basically we're talking about, because I think this other one has a breakdown on it, the 411. I don't have it, but the estimates that you gave us. And I wanna move forward. We have to move forward on it, but I think the county ought to pay their fair share in my mind. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you guys.
Anybody else? No? Oh, Doug, yeah.
Got a little bit, but I don't wanna,
You're fine, we got 3 minutes.
okay, so, at our last meeting, we had a request from the opioid committee to, for $145,800 for Hope Harbor, for a variety of expenses. At that meeting, we had public comment that were, probably about 40 minutes of public comment opposed. We had, some board of directors there that were in favor and explained and answered some of the questions, or a variety of questions. When the board of commissioners voted, it was 5-0 denied. So that request from that was brought by the opioid committee was denied. In addition, we did have public comment that brought the police because the individual did not want to state his name. And it's very clear in the statute, at least it's clear to me, that if you attend a meeting, you do not need to provide your name. But if you're going to speak, then you live by the rules of the body. And the rules of the Board of Commissioners is you state your name. He did not. And so he was escorted out. That's my update for now. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I don't. Anybody else? No? Perfect. Still nothing?
Me?
Yeah. No. Okay. You're up. Where's he at? There you
He's
go.
in the back.
We've got a chair here if you want, or there, it don't matter.
Good morning, thank you for your time. Make this pretty brief. Just going over the financial results, or the results of our audit. I would say our, start by saying everything was very well prepared, very smooth audit, as it always is, and we very much appreciate that. It doesn't always happen when we do audits, so getting a very clean, smooth audit is appreciated. So we issued our audit opinion on May 18th. That's when we issued. So everything's been submitted to the state. Usually met the deadlines of the state, those types of things. When you're looking at the report, that's on page 1. It's considered to be an unmodified or a clean opinion, which is what you're looking for when you get the audit. We have different opinion units. We look at different things: the government-wide financial statements, and then the fund financial statements and report opinions on those. As you walk through the report, I'm going to point out a couple of things. There is going to be a change in standards next year that rearranges some of the reports. I'm just going to point out a couple of things that are going to change. going into next year. They're not major changes though. It is one of the bigger changes in the standard in a while in how they do the reporting. But in an organization like yours, it's pretty limited. And thankfully they were looking at making even bigger changes, but they didn't do it. So, so in the management's discussion and analysis, just to point out, it's a very high level overview of the financial statements. A lot of times people say this is the thing, if you're gonna read something, you can read this. One of the reasons that I point out for that is it does have some areas where it gives you a discussion of why different things happen. So like why, specifically the budget to actual discussion, general fund budgetary highlights on page 10. I mean, there's not a lot happening, and you're pretty close with where the budget is, so there wasn't a whole lot to talk about, but that is the one place where you have more of an analysis in the financial statements overall. Otherwise, it's just reporting historical information and in accordance with the standard, so, but that's where that's at, is on page 10. And I also point that out because that's one of the things that's gonna move. So next year, it will move those highlights will move to the behind the footnotes, along with the budget to actual statement for the general fund, and that's where you'll go to see the discussion of why did you change from original budget to final budget, and what was the difference between your final budget and your actual results, and then there's some guidelines on explaining those. So it's going to change things, the way things look a little bit and where it's reported, but it's basically the same information that's going to be reported there going forward. So page 12 through 15 are your government-wide financial statements and your fund statements reported together. The first column is your general fund. You'll see on page 12, your end of the year fund balance was 4.5 million. You'll see that's made up of unrestricted amounts, non-spendable, which is for inventory, and then restricted for primary roads of 3.5 million. And then you have all this adjustment column that converts you from the modified accrual basis of accounting to full accrual, and you'll see there an ending net position of 39 million. We've talked about this in the past. You show a deficit of unrestricted, but that's a result of how pensions have to be recorded, and when you have a portion of that that's an unfunded liability, that gets recorded as a liability and causes that to be a deficit. But it's not really an overall deficit. You're going to take that off over time, and I'll show you the schedule, and you've made a little bit of progress in your funded percentage on that one in the past year. So page 14 is your income statement. Again, general fund statement of activities, full accrual as well. But where you have the budget to actual statement, which is the easier way to look at the general fund, is on page 16. And that has the columns for the original budget. That's what was adopted before the beginning of the fiscal year. The amended budget, which includes all your budget amendments that you would have adopted throughout the year, and your actual. You can see there originally you budgeted to lose just under $1 million. That came down to a final budget of about $10,000 loss, and you ended up at $269,000 use of fund balance. So bringing the fund balance from 4.8 million down to 4.5 million. So the next section of the document is the footnotes. A lot of more detailed information on different parts of the report. Nothing changed this year. So you remember last year we had compensated absences changed. There was a change in that. Yes, our favorite standard. I'll leave out the commentary. But you know, so that footnote is the same as what it was in the past. The only other standard that got implemented this year, there was a new standard on reporting for constraints, commitments and constraints that didn't really have an impact, didn't have impact much of anybody, but it put down the guidelines if there was a very significant event that was happening or planned, or that you knew was going to happen that was going to have a significant impact, and not even significant, substantial is the language that they say. So very material type of an item that would change like your funding structure, your expenses, those types of things that would be out of the ordinary and could put a constraint on your ability to go through things. So it's one standard where we had to have conversation, because when you look at it, you're like, well, yeah, we have stuff like that that's potential out there, you know, potential reductions in funding or changes in funding, methodologies, those types of things, but nothing that would raise to the level of needing to be reported under the standard, so. And then page 32, I just point you to, I think we've looked at this schedule, that's the schedule that has the funding levels for the MERS plan. The net pension liability at the end of the year was 3.5 million, which was down from 4.6 million. It is a point in time, so that was looking at it as of the end of the year. But that was an improvement, so you were up to about 78, 79% funded level. So it has been steadily improving over the last few years, so. And then this is the area, just so you know, this is where the budget to actual statement will be next year when you're looking for it, is in this section. It'll probably be just before this MERS disclosure. And then on page 38 and 39 is your operating schedule, your schedules, going into 40 as well. That breaks down between the required schedules, breaking down between primary roads, local roads, and county roads. And then the last 2 pages is our report on internal control or financial reporting. So we don't give an opinion on your controls, but we are required under the standards, if things come to our attention that raise to the level of material weakness or significant deficiency, we have to report those items. Though any items or findings would be reported after that. Thankful to say, it's just the report, so it means that you have no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, which is clean, and what you're hoping for. So we also do not have any management letter comments. So the separate letter that we have that has the independent auditor's communication with those charged with governance, this letter, if we had management letter comments that didn't raise to that same level but we felt need to be reported, those would be included there, but we did not have anything to report. And this letter is just kind of a standard letter. It talks about significant estimates, significant policies. They're all things that we're required to specifically report to you as a board, and so it gets put down in the form of a letter. So, you know, if we had disagreements with management somehow that we need to report, we would include those. We don't have anything like that. So clean there as well. And then if you're really wanting to look to see what's happening in the next couple of years, what's going to be implemented, attachment A has the new standards. So GASB 103 financial reporting model improvements is what is making it change where the MD&A and the budget actual statements having to move around and where those are going to be located. There's 2 others. There's one on disclosures for certain capital assets. Most likely not going to have an impact because some of the changes that were in there kind of as a best practice we were already doing, so those were reported. The other big change is identifying if you have an asset that's been determined that it's going to be sold and there's evidence that within the next year you're going to sell the item, you have to now disclose that separately and report that a little bit differently so that it's clear in the financial statements that you have that. So, and then the last one is just subsequent events. It just is redefining a little bit of the terms of what would be required to be included in subsequent events. That's not until 2027 though. The other 2 will be next year. So, but both of those, they're reporting issues. They're not changes in how you're going to actually account for things. It's not going to change your amounts, those types of things. So in the big scheme of things, they're relatively small compared to what we've had in the last few years. So but that's all I have, but happy to answer any questions you have.
I had a question on page 36, remember from the last meeting? Did
I
you get
wasn't
an
here
answer?
last week, but I was informed,
Yes.
it says it's closed to new hires, so MERS, when they figure out our assumption reports and all that, they don't count the new hires because who knows if they're gonna be vested. Does that help you? Because for them.
It's not closed to new hires.
No, it's not, our MERS is not closed to new hires, but how they figure out the percentages and things that are projected in the future, they don't use, am I using the right words?
Well, there's a lot of actuarials and
Yeah.
how they amortize your unfunded liability into, and the amortization is on a, like, the unfunded liability that you have here, there's a different methodology that they even use for calculating what your funded position is from a standpoint of how you're funded, how they're funding and creating what your annual required contribution is. And that is where that comes into play, is how they look at whether that's a closed period that they're amortizing over. So there's two different ways that they historically have done it, and I think I don't even know that it's an option under MERS. It's whether or not, in an open period, they amortize over 30 years, and then every year they just recalculate the 30 years and how they're amortizing it. Where it's closed, meaning they are reducing that number of years that they're amortizing the unfunded liability each time, which theoretically gets you funded faster. It pushes up your required contribution, the dollar amount keeps on going up. But if they didn't do that and they kept on spreading it out, it would just take longer and longer and longer to get caught up, unless you just happen to have these incredible rate of returns year after year, which you've had for a few years, but with that, they even do smoothing when they're calculating that. They do like a 5-year smooth on the values, those types of things, on investment gains and losses, that kind of stuff,
So is that everybody that's in the MERS program is under this philosophy? Because again, I'm looking at page 36, and it's the methods and assumptions used to determine contribution rates for 25 based on 23 actuarial evaluation. And so it's saying that the remaining amortization period is 13 years closed to new hires. So the plan is not closed to new hires, but the amortization of your net liability is closed to the new hires and
right, it has no impact on the new hires, if that's part of the concern. Like,
right.
It's not affecting anything in their benefits, anything like that. It's strictly on the contribution methods and how they're calculating those things. And that's what this footnote is about, is what are the methods and assumptions being used in that. And
And everybody in the MERS program is subject to the same thing?
the liability, again, you're saying all governments and stuff like that?
Well,
Yeah.
everybody, all other units who are in the MERS
Yes.
program, they're under the same philosophy that
In terms of how they calculate and all that
yes,
kind of
that
stuff,
they're
yeah.
all coming to essentially a finite where they're gonna have their pensions fully funded. I mean, cause that's what this is saying, in 13 years.
That's the theory and the goal and the policy that MERS had changed several years ago, of saying these liabilities are so huge.
Yeah.
We're never gonna make progress, so we're gonna change things over time. And that's the thing with MERS, like, we actually have in our estimates disclosure, we still have to evaluate and make sure the actuarial assumptions and methodology, all that kind of stuff, is appropriate and accurate. It's really tricky though, because I can't say it's not, and then you guys can change it. Because MERS sets that, you have no control over it. We actually, in this letter, we actually have language around the estimate section of saying, we agree with it, we evaluated it, but you have no control over it. So like they have representations that have to be made on these financial statements in the representation letter, and that's a part of it too, is like, well, yeah, we feel this is correct, but MERS won't make the change because we asked them to make a change, so.
And then on page 32, I also had a question about the covered payroll and why the significant increase in 25 is more than just a 4% increase.
I would have to look. More than 4%?
Yeah,
More than.
because if I take if I increase 24, 2.5 million by 4%, it does not come up to 3.2 million. So, and I didn't think we added a lot of positions, but I guess I was curious as to
I would have to look
the
into
change,
it.
and I guess I would like an answer to that. I thought I asked at the last.
I
meeting,
wasn't
but-
here.
Well, I know, but I thought the question was gonna be, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I guess I wanted to know the answer to that question. So,
Any other questions? Dave? No? You did a good job then. Thank you.
Yep.
I do
I
have
do
another
need a
question.
One-
I do have a question. When you were talking about having to disclose changes in the upcoming year, I know our funding for 26 essentially changed. There was changes that didn't have to be disclosed in these financial statements.
No, I mean, those would consider to be more normal changes in, like if there's the changes in funding or additional funding that might be available, all that kind of stuff. Because it's forward thinking, and especially because that wouldn't have to be disclosed. If there were a change, so say the state of Michigan came along and said, you know what, we're not funding roads anymore.
Right.
And they completely changed the law, they eliminated it, and that was upcoming, yeah, that would have to be disclosed. Or if they were or if the formula was changing in such a way that it completely, decimated what you had and you were gonna have to make those changes, that would likely be required to be disclosed, but.
Need a motion to accept.
I need to accept the audit report.
Move to accept the audit report.
Support.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. You did a good job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bob, you have no questions or anything for me?
Pardon?
Do you have any questions or anything for me
No.
anymore?
No.
You'll wait till you get it.
We'll get with Bob on that.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else you can get from Mark, you can let me know tonight.
Alright.
Was it something I said?
I think it's something you did.
Manager's comments.
Okay. So in your guys' travels, you've probably noticed we have some fresh pavement marking out there. They have
Yes. I
started
followed it.
doing that, center line and edge line. Albright Contracting is still working on the Prattville Road structure west of Waldron Road. The state crews have been mowing roadsides. We've started using a buffer truck for safety purposes following the mowers. The paving crew, we should finish up our local contracts today, pending the weather. And then next week, we're gonna kind of prep the equipment for getting ready for seal coat. We plan on starting to seal coat on the 6th of July.
How many miles we doing?
Local roads, I'm not 100% sure.
I keep getting.
I know, we keep getting contracts, so I don't know, but I would say we're just gonna say 15 to 30 in
That
there.
gives us a little range.
Yeah, definitely not like 70 or 80 like I'd like it to be, like it used to be, but. Crack seal crew, they're working on Reading Road east of South Hillsdale Road. The mowing, the contractor has completed all but Cambria, Camden, Woodbridge, and the west half of Amboy Township. Gravel and limestone patching. The county crews started doing the patching on May 20th. They've completed the patching in Somerset, Wheatland, Pittsford, Wright, Ransom, Adams, Moscow, Scipio, Fayette, Hillsdale, and Cambria. Should be done today, I believe. Jefferson didn't purchase any patching, and then we just received Amboy's contracts for you guys to approve today, so those will be scheduled. Yeah, I know. How about that deadline?
Yes.
The brining, they've got the following townships scraped for brine. That'd be Wheatland, Pittsford, Wright, Amboy, Ransom, Jefferson, Adams, and Moscow has been started. The brine's been completed in Wheatland, Jefferson, Pittsford, and Wright. He's currently working in Amboy. So they're
Way
three,
behind.
yeah. We are currently, I believe it was on Monday the 22nd, our construction crew started working on the Carpenter Road culvert in Austin. that road's been shut down to one lane because the culvert had failed and the road had a big sinkhole in it. So they have removed the old culvert and they're working on getting the, trench bedded and all that stuff. And originally, we were told the culvert was gonna be here on the 29th to set. The company just confirmed yesterday that it will not be here until the 7th of July. So unfortunately, the road's gonna have to stay closed because it's a big hole, so it'll be closed over the 4th, and we were hoping to have it all finished by next week, but. So the crane and everything is set for, I think it's 8:30 the morning of the 7th. And we're working with the Drain Commission on that one, so we didn't have to go through Eagle, we worked through the Drain Commission, so. CHOP, our tree contractor's working on our list of trees that we have. I think we had half a dozen locations for them to do. I think you guys received an email, back a week or two ago from a property owner down at Mary Lake about an issue with some utility work. We received multiple calls and emails from this property owner. We've been in contact with the utility company and the contractor. From what we've inspected on the site, the company's doing everything by our permit requirements. Any damages have or are currently being addressed. Property owners have been compensated. I still spoke with Gail from McCrissup, and she said as long as the company's complying with our permit requirements, our obligations have been fulfilled and no further action is required on our part. That's about it.
And you're gonna follow that up with us in our emailing the report?
Yeah, it's already sent. It's in your inbox. Sent at 9:30 this morning.
Well,
I
I
got it.
checked my stuff last night, it wasn't there.
No,
There you go.
No, you'll have the report now.
All right,
On
thank you.
the,
Quicker than we used to get them.
on the tree work, I had a, call from a citizen on Chandler Road, that they reported canopy work needed to be done last year,
Okay.
and there's nothing been
That's
done.
Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler from between Waldron and Baker Road.
Okay.
And they've got a fifth wheel camper,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't bring it home. So
They can bring it home, just won't have any.
they just won't
Right.
have a roof left on it.
Okay. I'll check the service request and see if it's in there, and if not, we'll make sure it gets put in there. And I think canopy work they can do now, they just can't cut trees down.
Because of the Indiana
Yeah,
back.
right.
And then I got another phone call from Brent Schmucker on M99, and DMCI put cable through.
Yeah.
And he says they've left a hump and haven't come back to fix it.
Correct.
I told him that was MDOT's
Right.
owns the right of way,
Yes.
so, but I would bring it up at the board meeting.
Yeah, because I know our permits say that they're required to restore it to
What it was.
either better condition or, right. So I'm sure MDOT has the same, but I will look into that.
So along, 9912, DMCI has to pull permits through the state of Michigan
Yep.
versus through us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, any work
wasn't
that's done on
sure.
state highways has to be.
Wasn't sure how that worked, if that went through our office because we're local and,
Nope.
no, they actually pull
All we
permits
have
there
is
as
a
well.
contract to maintain the
Okay.
road.
Correct.
Okay, well,
Yes.
again, good clarification, thank you.
And people don't realize that the state owns the right of way on the state roads, where on the county roads, the landowner owns the right of way.
And if they haven't yet, they should be finished with the Mills Road shoulders.
They've done a pretty good job.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Pretty good job, pretty good job.
Mark that on the calendar.
They did not hit the one on, Mosier
Mojo
Road,
Road, probably not.
the crater.
He might still be
Right,
working on
right,
Mills
right,
Road, but I know Moserville Road is on his radar, and so is, Sweet Clover Hills.
They did do a good job on North Adams Road, just past Lake Pleasant Road on the curve. They even put cold patch in there
Good deal.
because the water was coming down the hill and taking all the gravel with it. No, all we gotta do is mold the intersection of Millens and North Adams so that people can see.
I guess I would make comment about Mills Road off of 12.
Okay.
Where that road is deteriorating badly. You tell me the state of Michigan isn't gonna repave it, what are we gonna do? It's only getting worse.
I know,
And-
are you
and
talking
the
to the
issue-
north?
To the north.
Okay.
And it has done that because of what the state did to US 12, the last, coating they put on it.
Okay.
Because we've been on that road for over 35 years. And this has happened since that coating was put on. Something has to be done, so what are we gonna do?
And that's something that I can get with Chris Kendrick, or get with Kevin and Chris Kendrick, and find out, because I know as far as rebuilding the intersection, because I think that's what we initially had presented to them, along with those signs for the no passing on the shoulder, they weren't gonna do that until there was like a project submitted. But if it's something that we could mill and repave and do it under maintenance, maybe we could do something like that. But I'll have to get with Chris Kendrick and see what the rules are, what we're allowed to do, and what's in the budget for it. Cause I know we did like the grinding on 127. We just did those for the bumps or whatever, profile milling. And that was just something we threw together.
Right.
It didn't take a huge big,
Right.
bid process and all that
Right.
stuff. So I will get with Chris Kendrick and
Right.
see if we can resurface that or do
Right.
something.
Didn't you do something?
Of course, that's two state roads, 49 and 12.
That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
yes,
We ground that off.
yes, that was the same company and the same time we did the profile milling.
I will say also, there are two cross tubes, one south of my house and one north of my house, that there's quite a hump there now, depression, and people are bringing it to my attention. Me, I don't tend to notice it so much because I'm slowing down to turn in every
Right.
time, or just taking off. I don't tend to notice those,
Okay.
especially the one north. Anyway, if you're out in that way, those should be addressed.
Okay.
I had a question on Sterling Road, and I think in something I read, you did a grinding of the road.
Pulverizing.
Yes, that's the word, thank you, pulverizing. When's the plan to pave it then?
We're gonna pave it back once the seal coating gets done and we reassess budget and what we can afford for like the primary roads and stuff like that. When we do our next round of paving, he's gonna pave that.
And that's
So it'll
this
be this
summer?
summer, yes,
This summer.
yeah.
Okay.
Cause I think he's gotta do some paver patching on Addison Road as well, and then maybe a couple more primary roads, so, yeah, we'll do that after
That whole section from Walworth Road back seems to be deteriorating fast.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Heather?
You know, that's the only phone calls or conversations I had, other than Somerset and this.
And I don't know if you guys understood what he was saying with, Somerset, but the cost share policy states if a contractor does it, it's 100% covered by them. And the plan was when we sat down with Somerset Township and talked to them, we gave them a similar, thing that we did ransom, where we would pay for the pulverizing, but they would have to pay it in the future. And they agreed to it. Now he's upset because we're not paying for anything. But we paid 100% of the pulverizing cost for what they just did. We did have them pay for the material, the gravel that was put on, but I don't know, we're not gonna go in and pave those because that's not,
No.
we don't do overlays.
That's what he's talking about.
Correct, yes, and he doesn't think just because we don't do it, they should act, well, that's been in our cost share policy
For a
for
long
years. So,
Yeah.
and the other one that I gave him a breakdown of all the other roads in the township, or on the Lake Somerset, to just paver patch, chip and fog those, and that was just material cost, cause we would do all that. So that was the 400,000 price he threw out or whatever. So, that's just explaining his situation.
So when we had conversations about what projects they wanted done, we were very clear that we weren't paving those and that 100%
Absolutely.
of the cost was on them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
It's been like that for years.
Well,
Well,
I know it's been like that,
Yes.
but my concern is, was there discussion of us doing it, and so therefore the assumption was we were paying for some of it. Never was that part of the discussion.
No.
But I would say that they're getting pushback now about,
Yes. And when he said the $900,000 price or whatever for
Right.
materials, I have an email that I sent him just for rough estimates. I said, for the material alone, the asphalt material alone, it would be roughly $900,000. But I said, because it's going to have to be contracted, you have to bid it in with mobilization, traffic regulators, minor traffic control, signs. You have to put all that stuff in there to bid it out as a proper job. So it's gonna be more than 900,000. That's where he's saying the material alone, well, you
Right.
can't just do it based off of the
Right.
material alone because it's all contracted. And that was for just the price of the material, not the price to have them lay the material.
Right.
So,
we did other roads up there, it was 100%.
yeah, and they haven't, and they've done it, exactly.
Yeah.
They did Shannon Drive that way.
Yes.
They did the
Tralee.
Kidney Bigs and
Yes.
Tralee and Blarney Circle. and-
Yes.
Yeah,
And then-
so,
And I know where he's getting the pushback from, is from the lake
right,
people, and they
Yeah.
believe that those are county roads, so that we should be paying for them, they shouldn't have to pay, but
and it's unfortunate that
it doesn't work that
the
way.
township has let the roads go this long to where they
Exactly.
needed to be pulverized and repaved. You know, they're local roads, they take a match. They always have. Or I shouldn't say always, but for several years. So,
Yeah, he knew that from years past that we've
Right.
done that.
I had a citizen of Somerset Township tell me that, there's no law that says they have to match.
the township does not have to match, the match has to come from somewhere.
Correct.
That's what the law says.
And my response was, well, then you'll get what maintenance you'll get.
Right. Right.
Anything else for Heather? Old business, approved manager's position, employment contract.
I don't know if I'd say that was old business. I'd say it's new business, isn't it?
no,
No,
it was
they
presented
brought
at
up
the last
last
meeting.
Yeah, we presented last
Well,
meeting.
you call it old business if you want to, I think it's new.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve the contract, the new manager's contract.
Support.
Okay, discussion. Any discussion?
I read the one that you sent me, Bob, and read this one. I guess I don't have any problems or questions about it.
Okay, if there's no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
How's this vote gonna work? There's only 3 of us here.
Yes,
No.
yes,
There's
yes,
quorum.
All right, then I'm gonna vote no.
Aye.
Yeah.
That's fine, Deb,
Okay.
nobody should ever
I
be
need
all the time.
signatures on the contract.
What's the date, 25th?
Yes.
Heather, I'm gonna talk with Bob on this DMC
Oh, yeah.
I see where he's coming.
Yes, yep, I told Dave Cleveland when he came in, a couple days ago or whatever, that when Bob got back, we would all sit down at the table, cause the biggest thing that he needs is, and we really need to write it in the permit fee schedule, what the definition of a project is, because he has not gotten clarification on that.
Right.
It's treated differently, like, he submitted, like, a couple different, maybe it's Mary Drive East and Mary Drive West down at Mary Lake as two separate,
Project.
I should probably sign it.
Oh, you can sign it, yeah.
And,
Sorry.
Only if you
Bob
approve.
said that could be a project, like combine both of those roads on one, and that could be a project. But then like he might submit 2 miles on Lake Pleasant Road, and that's also a project, one road.
Oh.
But there's not a mileage or anything that, it just says, like he said, that population thing. So I wanna sit down with Bob before we talk to Dave, see if we can, I don't really wanna put it out there, but just, we need to discuss it further. See if we can get
Well, I
definition of
see
what a
what it's-
project is.
You know, that
Yeah.
definition changed after they quoted it.
Yes.
But they quoted it on what we already said. so
Yes, and
I can
technically, like,
understand that.
a 1 mile road is not a project,
Right.
really, you know? So I could see like,
whole-
Mary Lake, that whole area could be
A
submitted as a
project.
project, and that might have 10 miles of roads in it or something, you know? So we just have to get that clarification written down.
Or even a whole township.
Get it worked
That's-
out with him.
Yeah, we can't have like the whole east side of the county as a project, like,
No.
that doesn't make sense, or a whole township, you know, but,
And I understand it from his aspect,
Yes.
that they had a grant and they got money that's
Yes.
budgeted.
yes.
Cause I'm sure that's coming out of his pocket, that extra
It is.
120,000.
Right.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
All right.
Thank you, guys,
You're welcome.
Well,
and thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
New business. Sign the bond contract 2026, 27, and 28 audits. We already approved it, didn't we?
Yes, you already approved it. Last meeting. Yours is on the first page and then the next page is for everybody else. It didn't fit on one page. I have paper.
The
You can
paper.
take it out, take it off.
I thought it was stapled. About tore in half.
All right. Yes, sir. Goes to you.
Okay. Approve Western Star truck bids.
It's Bob and Joe's recommendation that the board approve Truck and Trailer Specialties to build 2 Western Stars for $258,998 each. The bid's from My Deal. And they're the company that we like to stick
We
with
usually
because
do,
we,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
it's
they do a good
consistency and the
job.
trucks are all built the same.
They're out of what, Battle Creek?
It says Dutton, Michigan.
Never heard.
I think out by there, maybe. It's gonna be on the other side of the state.
Now, I move we approve the Western Star truck builds.
Or, did you get other bids and did we see them?
It's
No,
my deal.
it's a My Deal, so it's already a competitive bid.
Okay.
Any more discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So Dutton is south of Grand Rapids,
I thought it was up there.
so.
You see truck and trailer up when I go for the dollars.
Mhm.
We didn't actually vote, cause you started asking questions. That's on 2 trucks?
That's each. The 258,998 is each.
And we're just
But yes,
doing
it
2
is
trucks?
just for 2 trucks.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Approved construction engineering proposal for 2026 safety project. in the,
You skipped
Skipped one.
engineering reimbursement.
I'm like raising my hand.
oh,
Jump in.
approve, yes, just, you don't need to
I need
raise
that
your
$10,000.
hand. Just yell.
Don't skip my $10,000.
Approve and sign and adopt engineering reimbursement. And that is $10,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Move to approve.
support, we want the 10,000.
Yeah. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
Now we get
Now, this is gonna be a
So I need
resolution.
construction
sign
proposal,
here and
we'll
then
take our
the other two
10,000
are right
out.
here. It's under a member. The bottom.
Number, oh, there's two of us, all right, I guess two of us can sign.
So I
Last year, I just had two people sign at the bottom too, so everybody signed,
I
but
don't
it
need
worked
to
out.
sign
Yes,
You
you
do,
Oh, I
you're the
do?
third,
Member. There you
Oh,
go.
there's 3 spots.
You guys said 2.
Well, two members,
And then chair.
yeah, Bob's not a member. You
Yeah,
know, he's
I'm
the
a member.
muckety muck,
Well,
we're
he's-
just,
He's there in case there's a tie.
he's the muckety muck, we're just the rank and
I
file.
know I had to do that a couple times.
Good thing we got you here.
All right,
Now we'll approve construction engineering proposal for Health Safety Project 3,000-22, or 30,000-22-1972 MDOT contract 26-5116.
So moved.
support,
That's roll call, isn't it?
No,
No?
no, we already did a resolution.
Oh,
This
okay.
is just for the
Alright.
construction engineer proposal.
Okay,
Do you wanna know
yes,
who it is before you
Yeah.
support and make the motion? I was like, sweet, this is good.
Well, it's pretty obvious that
We sent the RFP out to 8 different consultants. 2 of them right away got back with us and said that they were too busy, they didn't have the staff to do it. We received a proposal from SME and a proposal from Kaylee Bates. And SME was $29,912. And Kaylee Bates was $13,820. And I'm recommending that we move forward with Kaylee Bates as the consultant for the construction engineering.
they were in business. So,
yeah, Kaylee must be an individual,
She is an individual, she
have we
is
worked with her
actually,
before?
yes and no. She is an employee of Jackson DOT, Jackson County DOT.
Okay.
We are not working with Jackson County.
Right,
She's
on this.
consulting on her own time.
Okay,
Charlie highly recommends her,
okay,
and she has the blessing from Charlie to do this in her spare time.
Okay.
But,
okay, that's what I wanted to know.
yeah,
Okay. Cause it's always a little scary to go with that big of a difference
absolutely.
with an individual,
Yes.
not knowing the background.
And she's currently doing a project for Jackson County that's a sign project, which is what our safety project is, and it's got like 115 different signs. And she's very well experienced with the Ashware and Project Y software that we use, and her hours all made sense. Charlie looked over everything, he felt good with the numbers and everything, so.
Did we have a motion?
Yep.
Second.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Approved 2026 township contract.
yeah, we finally got
Amboy and Woodbridge, I'm not gonna read them all.
Move to approve.
support.
So do we have any concern accepting these contracts this late, and should we accept them all? That would be my question.
This year, yes, we should accept them. They don't have paver patch in them, so it's not really pushing us off. The gravel patching kind of is not good to get that this late because we have to have that 21 AA crushed stone shipped in, or, you know, we have to have it hauled in. And that's kind of putting a little wrinkle in it, but because we don't have any hard deadline, it's hard to turn them away. Now, future, I think, yes, we need to have a deadline, and then we can say
100%.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
But because we don't have a hard deadline, I feel it's difficult to turn them down.
I think that's something we need to stick to. If
Yes,
it's-
absolutely.
If it's May 1st, it's May 1st.
Absolutely,
That's right.
Yep.
Because how else do you schedule?
right. And we knew
Getting the
that,
materials in.
Right.
the Steve Sanders did talk to us ahead of time about the Woodbridge Road one, so he knew it was gonna get approved, like we were
Okay.
aware of that one. These Amboy ones, they just been kind of floating out there and we hadn't really had much communication with them.
That's